Hello, this is Naresh, and I'm with my friend Kaushal. We are presenting comparative study of deploying machine learning model on software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service, cloud services. Okay. So in this presentation, we'll be discussing first problem statement, then background, then approaches which we followed, and whenever we are deploying, what we should consider, and finally conclusion. So, problem statements are here like we can consider Ram as a CTO and of a small consulting startup. He is just addressing a customer requirement. So he decided to deploy analytics solution for customer, and but his budget is low. But he can definitely negotiate for timeline having, and is very flexible restrictions. Okay. And second thing is, on the other hand, Shyam is a system architect in big insurance firm. To address one of the requirements of a client, he decided to deploy an analytics solution for his bank. He is flexible with budget and already has an infrastructure, but the solution needs to be fault tolerant. Okay. So let's cut through the jargons. Machine learning or analytics solution means predicting results on the basis of information available, and deploying machine learning model means providing a platform to use the trained model for predicting future cases. Deploying on premise and deploying on cloud, which means in deploying on premise, we are setting up the hardware at the local site, whereas in the cloud we are not taking care about the hardware, so forget about hardware and let's directly focus on the application. So, if we understand software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service, we can take an example of Spring Roll. I mean, it's basically, if you want to get a Spring Roll, the very first thing which you can do is directly order from Swiggy or Zomato. That is, we are considering Spring Roll as a software here. So this is software as a service. Okay, so vendors, Zomato and Swiggy are providing this Spring Roll to you directly. Second thing, PaaS, that is platform as a service. You can get the kitchen from any vendor where all the things will be available, like oven, stove, and a frying pan, and all other things, and even the grocery. You can directly go and prepare the spring roll there. The third thing is infrastructure as a service. You'll get the kitchen essentials, but you need to take the grocery with you and prepare the spring roll. So these are the basic difference from in all three services. Okay. So we have deployed ML with PaaS using two ways. First is Google Colab, and second one is Heroku. And also we have deployed ML with IaaS using EC2 instance of AWS. Okay, so let's discuss about first way of ML with PaaS, that is Google Colab. In these typical steps, we just use Google Colab clean data, train the model, and run the validations. After that, we deployed a fast API on top of Google Colab and make it public using ngrok. So first we'll discuss about advantage and disadvantage, then we'll go directly to the Google Colab to discuss our model. So, using Google Colab, advantages of using Google Colab is basically it could be a free of cost. Definitely, some vendors provide on a minimal cost also, but Colab is free for us, and it is definitely most convenient. And for our model, we required GPU support. So, GPU support also you can get it directly. In disadvantage, you can discuss like no data security is there, less Colab runtime, and space issues definitely can be there. So this is our model. You can see here, we have implemented a Bitcoin prediction and created API using Fast API framework, and then we used ngrok to port out uh, our model. Okay, here you can see we have used these libraries, and we have used this data of 5 years data, and here we have just scaled our data and used a neural network to train our data. And then you can see we used 32 batch size and 50 epochs. Okay, and which definitely require higher computation time. So we used we took GPU support here from Google Colab. And here you can see we have all the details, like we have predicted a stock price. And then we have used this fast API to convert to get the API and use it in our server, and in our website basically. So we have used your fast API, and then we are having ngrok tunnel here. You can see this URL. I'll show you this URL to you. Here it is. Okay, so we are using fast API. You can just see, you can directly try it out and execute. You'll get the prediction for you, which is here, forecast. This is the complete output and the process. Okay, so after this Google Colab, we deployed our model into Heroku, which Kaushal will explain.
Thanks, Naresh. So after Google Colab, we deployed our model using Heroku. So what we did here was we just wrote a very simple model for predicting a car price. Then um, we saved the pickle file. Then we wrote Flask API to deploy the model locally. This is the index HTML for the GUI, and we implemented this locally first. Here, if you'll see, this is the local implementation. Then after this, we predicted. Then we deployed this. When then we deployed the same model on Heroku. What we did was we uploaded all these files on the GitHub. Uh, One of the important file is the requirement.txt, where we wrote all the required libraries for the model. The proc file basically tells the Heroku to launch which app first. So the Heroku needs to run the Flask API. Flask API is basically it's loading the pickle file and it's running the predict on the pickle, and it's giving its output there. So what we did was then we uploaded everything on GitHub, and we linked the GitHub repository to the Heroku, and then we deployed the branch here, and we were able to successfully deploy it here. Now, if we predict price here, this will so our model will predict our price here. So this is the basic deployment of model on Heroku. Now, if we talk about advantages and disadvantages, advantages, if we discuss about continuous integration and deployment, so that is possible. What in our way, we what we did was we wrote everything and we uploaded on GitHub. So whenever there is a commit on the repository, either I can manually deploy the newer commit, or I can enable automatic deployment. So whenever a commit is changed on a repository, Heroku will itself deploy the newest commit. Convenience, it appears so the Heroku is a very provides a very convenient API. We don't have to care about the architecture at all. We just tell them that these are the libraries I want, and it basically gets all those libraries for us and deploy our web app basically. So cost of API. So basically, we are paying here only cost of API. We don't get the chance in this case to train our model using the Heroku. We had to code everything locally, and we deployed the API basically on the Heroku. Auto scaling solutions are required. because in our case, since we were using a free tier subscription, we were not having the auto scaling thing. But if we go for paid subscription, then we have an option for auto scaling. So auto scaling is basically whenever our model runs out of compute power or runs out of space, then it automatically adds, so which ensures the high availability of a system. So so that is possible with Heroku. We did see one error in starting, where we ran out of space here, and then we had to change our model a little bit. We had to call a different library, and then we were able to fix it. Um, limited library. This is one of the disadvantage, that we have less space or we have restricted space if we don't have auto scaling. Other option is limited libraries available. We did found one error here where it is giving an error for a specific version of SciPy. So only fixed number of libraries are available on platform as a service infrastructures. What Now if we call some other library which is not available on platform as a service, we might face some issues in that case. So we don't have much control on high availability, because whenever an app crashes, we need to basically rely on the vendors, how vendor deals in the case of faults. Also, we can have more latency problem in case of Heroku. In IAS, we can control the latency issues. We'll see that next. So next, we deployed the machine learning model in the infrastructure as a service model, where we used an AWS EC2 instance to deploy our model. So we basically got an basic infrastructure up. We got two nodes. We got two EC2 instances up, Node 1 and Node 2. Then we installed all required libraries and packages on those instances. Then we loaded the data. So now here we can load data like from S3 instance, or we can upload a CSV file. We can get a CSV file from S3 instance, or we can directly upload using WinSCP, or we can also set up different environments, and we can pull the data using different functions like a PySpark or something. Then we did normal cleanse data. We wrote the code to cleanse data, train, and save model. And then we saved the model on EC2. And then we deployed using the web API. So currently the web API is running. If you see here, these are the files we added there. And then we deployed this on AWS. So here we are seeing the model deployed on AWS, and we can give some parameters, and it is giving us a price here in lakhs. So that so now let's discuss about advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages, we got more control over network. So what we did here was we initiated two instances, and these two instances can basically communicate with them if we change the security groups. Uh, if we get them into the same security groups, and with more network settings, we can even do more things. We can transfer files. We can have SSH less we can have SSH less connection. So that would be required if we are setting up, like if a model requests data from some Hadoop system, then that passwordless entry helps in those scenarios. Can ensure high availability. I can have two instances. I can have a cron job running on one of the instances. On the left one, I can have, like if left one is, I can deploying my model. If left one is running the API, and if anything, if gets changed on that API, if app.py is basically my Flask app. So if anything changes on the Flask app here, I can have a cron job running, which basically sends an update to the second instance to change its app.py same way. And I can have a service running on AWS where whenever the first machine fails, the web app automatically points out to the second VM. So high availability is very easy. We can ensure high availability in case of AWS instances in IaaS format. We also have option of auto scaling while in running these instantiating these instances. We can select auto scale option here. So whenever the requirement surpass the limit, it will automatically auto scale the model. That's an optional thing. There are other options available as well, like AWS Lambda, where we don't have to give any configuration, and depending on how many function calls are there, the Lambda itself defines the configuration, and we don't have to care about that. So that's a different part that's called function as a service. Now let's discuss about disadvantages. So if we don't calculate correctly, intelligently, what the resource requirements for the model, it could basically cost much more than platform as a service. But if we are able to calculate that efficiently, then we can make it cost just like platform as a service. Cross-platform compatibility can trouble sometimes. Like now, we have to rely on the vendor when he makes the newer versions available for us. Like if I'm having an on-prem Hadoop system, and if I've set up a VPN connection between them, I can basically communicate with the AWS EC2 can communicate with the on-prem Hadoop. But if I want to upgrade my Hadoop to a newer version, and if the AWS instance does not support communication with the newer instances, then I could face some failures. Then I can't basically upgrade my on-prem Hadoop. So and I need to wait for the AWS to the vendor to come to that platform. So that might be some issues. One other issue, like here, what we are seeing is if we don't enable the auto scaling option, we are here seeing that we ran out of memory when we got the TensorFlow requirement. TensorFlow included in the requirement. So TensorFlow itself is a 500 MB, and we were having around 1 GB of space. So this took around 500, more than 500 MB. 400 MB is only the file. Then it installed. Then it so because of that, our instance ran out of memory. So auto scaling is a very crucial part in case of deploying models. We so here I'm showing that we installed a MySQL on one of the instances, and we can basically attain the cross. We can get the cross platform point, which I was discussing, that which is a very important concept while implementing systems. Um, so now the comparisons. So what we did basically here was we showed what all we did. Now if we compare SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, we basically we didn't discuss about SaaS. So in SaaS sounds awesome, but it's not practical for deploying a machine learning model, because there are many steps where many phases in the life cycle which fails, and we need to relook into those, for data cleaning part. If I deploy a model using software as a service, now my model requires data in a specific format, in a very specific format. Then only I can train the model on the basis on the way on that. Now, if I want to retrain, if my data changes, if I want to retrain the model, I can't do that. I need to again get all the cleaning done on a different architecture, and then get the data to SaaS and then deploy, which is not a practical solution. If I'm thinking to automate the whole process, this is not a practical solution. Now, if we discuss about machine learning with PaaS, so this is very convenient, but we don't have much control over fault tolerance. Platform here, platform is basically available with pre-installed or very fixed set of libraries. It basically it supports many API frameworks, and continuous integration and deployment is easy. But there are some security risks regarding data, because in this case, like if my data is residing on some other system, like if my data is residing on a Spark, then first I need to get that data on some others, on like on GitHub. What we did was, we got the data, we uploaded that data on GitHub, then we pushed that using GitHub to the Heroku platform. So that's a number of network jumps, so that adds to the risk of the data leakage. Now, when we discuss about machine learning with infrastructure as a service, so this is the basically closest relative of on-prem, and it and we and it is very flexible, and so we here we are basically paying for what we use. We can scale up easily. We can either have an auto scale enabled, which might add to the cost, but will reduce the cost on the long run, as we'll be using less number of resources, and is practically future proof, because whenever like if a new type of drive comes into the picture, then we don't have to take care about that. The infrastructure vendor need to take care about that. And if there is a new version, software version available, then it's vendors trouble, it's vendors headache to make the newer version available for the customers. So it's basically future proof. We can scale up, we can change software versions, we can migrate from one VM to another VM. If I'm using an EC2 instance on Ubuntu, and if I know that there are some issues with Ubuntu, I should go to Novel SUSE Linux. I can do that very easily. Those type of migrations are very easy on an AWS instance or other similar competitions. So, if we conclude, for a project in which emphasis is more on data security and convenience for developers, high availability, and we are ready to trade cost, then designing an ML system with IAS make more sense. For a project in which all the above matters, but um, but like the time frame for which the model is going to be live is very less, then in that case I would suggest platform as a service, because I believe platform as a service is not future proof. We do get the we can resolve the uh, auto we can resolve the scalability option, but we do have a limit with the scalability in case of platform as a service. It depends on the how vendor provides it. For a project where cost matters the most, in a case where budget is very low, and so in that case what we can do is we can basically run the projects in a testing phase using collab like services. So collab like services could be used in that case. So those this is our conclusion. Thank you.